After all the hype, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 proved itself a worthy successor to the first film. With another awesome mixtape blasting and another round of adventures for Star-Lord and his gang of unlikely heroes, Volume 2 offered up the same mix of action and comedy fans have come to love. And like the first installment, the newest Guardians is packed with Easter eggs. Here are all the details only true fans noticed in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Major spoilers ahead. Retro Tracker. One of the very first shots of the movie shows Star-Lord tracking the Obelisk, the giant space octopus, on a very retro-looking piece of hardware. It looks about as 21st century as Star-Lord's awesome mixtapes, and for good reason. That space alien tracker is literally just a Mattel Electronics classic football game. If you squint during the movie, you can even see a faded Mattel Electronics written across the top. Glimpse of Eternity. When Ego forces his will onto his son and Peter's eyes fill with stars, Peter whispers one word: eternity. To casual fans, it sounds like he's saying basically, man, that's a big universe. But it also seems like a reference to a godlike being from the comics. In the Marvel Universe, Eternity is a character who encompasses everything in the universe, a being with tremendous cosmic powers. Remember how Ego is kind of a god but with a little g? Well, Eternity is the big G. One of them anyway. In Marvel terms, Star-Lord got himself a glimpse of God. Heavy. Grandmaster surprise. One of the best surprises in the Thor Ragnarok trailer was the appearance of Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. And if you thought you'd have to wait until November to see him in action, you're in luck. Goldblum makes a brief dancing cameo in the credits of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Which doesn't serve any purpose that we can tell, but it's a nice nod to the coming clash of worlds happening in the MCU. Galaga tactics. When the Sovereign drone ships attack the Guardians, we get even more proof that writer-director James Gunn is completely in love with the 80s. The drones attack in two streaming lines, a pitch-perfect flight plan from the original Galaga arcade game. Even their weapons sound pretty familiar. And when all the Sovereign pods explode in the quantum asteroid field except one, the pilots gather around the last remaining starfighter, just like kids in an arcade. Planet Hulk. After their encounter with the drones, the Guardians are forced to make an emergency landing on an empty planet. The place fills up pretty fast though, as both Ego and the Ravagers track the Guardians to the planet's surface. But if Quill and crew had spent a little more time walking around those woods, they may have seen that they weren't the first Voyagers to crash land in that forest. In fact, they might have been able to see a big Hulk-sized footprint in the ground. That's because Berhurt, the planet they landed on, is apparently the same one where Hulk fought the Galaxy Master in Incredible Hulk number 111. There's even a race that lives there, the Sagittarians. Contraxia. Nobody's making up planet names for Guardians. Just about every planet that shows up relates to one that's already been established in Marvel Comics. That includes Contraxia, the planet where Yondu makes his first appearance in the film. The first time Marvel readers saw Contraxia was in Jack of Hearts number 2, and it served as the setting for Jack's adventures for 3 issues. The planet showed up again in Marvel Zombies Supreme Volume 1 and number 4, which saw Jack of Hearts returning to fight the Undead Squadron Supreme. Like in Guardians, the Contraxia of the comics is cold and bleak, the kind of place where you're bound to run into an unsavory character or two. Speaking of which, Howard the Duck Volume 2. Ah, Howard.
That's it. No more Mr. Nice Duck.
The star of a terrible movie, but an awesome Easter egg in both Guardians movies. Howard returns in Guardians Volume 2, this time relaxing with a drink on Contraxia. The camera slides past him pretty quickly, so you have to keep an eye out for him. Howard the Duck might seem like an odd choice to stick in Guardians of the Galaxy, but to James Gunn, if the duck fits, it sits. Gunn told Yahoo Movies in March 2017 that he's a huge Howard the Duck fan. Well, a huge fan of Howard the Duck comics, that is. Like the rest of humanity, Gunn thought the movie from the 80s sucked. We'll just have to wait until Volume 3 to see where the duck shows up next. Original Guardians. Guardians Volume 2 featured a ton of new faces, but for those who have kept up with the comics over the years, most of them weren't actually new at all. Sylvester Stallone's character, Stakar Ogord, first appeared in 1975 in Defenders number 27. He becomes Starhawk and joins the Guardians in the first issues of their 1990 run. During Yondu's epic Technicolor funeral, we also get to see Charlie 27. Alita Ogord, and Martin X. Tanaga, who also showed up on Contraxia in the movie. These characters were all involved with the older and original incarnations of the Guardians of the Galaxy team. The post-credit scenes also gives us a glimpse of Kruger, who in the comics becomes Doctor Strange's apprentice. Either Gunn is just paying tribute to the old Guardians, or they'll all be back in Volume 3. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Adam Warlock. One of the final Easter eggs in the movie came during one of the post-credits scenes. Ayesha, the Sovereign's leader, unveils a golden cocoon that contains a man she only refers to as Adam. Longtime fans of the comics realized pretty quickly that she was talking about Adam Warlock, a mainstay of Marvel's cosmic comics. Like in the movie, Adam was created inside a cocoon in the comics and grew to become an incredibly powerful character after taking possession of one of the Infinity Stones. What his role will be in the MCU and the upcoming Infinity War is still uncertain, but it's definitely going to be a game changer. Stan the Delivery Man. Playing a game of Spot the Stan is always fun, and Guardians 2 doesn't disappoint, but the plot thickens. When we see Stan Lee talking to the Watchers as Rocket and Yondu are portal jumping across the galaxy, he tells them about his job as a FedEx delivery man. You know, which was totally his job in Captain America Civil War.
Are you Tony Stank?
Yes, this is Tony Stank. You're in the right place.
On one hand, it makes for a meta Easter egg within an Easter egg moment. On the other hand, it's possible confirmation of a long-held fan theory that Stan Lee is a Watcher himself, an alien being that observes momentous events in the Marvel Universe. Even in light of that evidence, the studio still isn't explicitly confirming that theory. But think about it, every one of these movies covers a major event, so by Marvel logic, there's probably a Watcher somewhere in each of those movies, someone who always shows up and always looks the same, and has no other reason to be there. Someone like Stan Lee.
Stan Lee came back?
Stan Lee never left, and I'm starting to think that his mind is no longer in mint condition.
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.